Happy morning to you all children. Let's start our session. Today we are going to discuss some more important things from History Chapter 1 How, When and Where. It is part 3 of the session. Let's start this. So today it is how do we know? How do we know? The period under study has an abundance of source materials. Archaeological sources are comparatively less important for this period. So now what is of greater importance are the literary sources. The modern period of Indian history can be reconstructed using a variety of sources. These sources are not restricted to official records but also include text and objects that voice the interest of the common people in different ways. Which we consider as modern period? It is the ruling period of British. Now, a primary source of information for historians is the official records of the British administration. A primary source of information for historians. That means historians has to know what already happened. Okay, so to know that they have to search the official records which have been written during the period of British. So, official records of the British administration is very much important. That is the primary source for the historians. Okay. Now, administration produces records. The British have given importance for writing. So, the act of writing is very much important. As I said, the primary source of information for historians is the official records. Where does this official record started? The Mughals have introduced the culture of recording everything. So this was furthered and perfected by the British. So every administrative decision was recorded and carefully preserved. Every executive, legislative and judicial body had record rooms in which even the smallest records were kept well catalogued. Thus, the proceedings of each government department is available to us. This has helped historians immensely in their study of the period. Many of the official records, as I said, where it was preserved in National Archives of India. The next one is surveys become important. The British believed that a country had to be properly known before it could be effectively administered. So once if they are taking charge in the administrative department, they have to know all about the places, all about the regions. Okay, so they have planned to conduct surveys and made maps for various administrative purposes. So the British also began the practice of conducting surveys such as population surveys, revenue surveys, land surveys and many other types of surveys. Mapping was an important part of these surveys. So the British made a large number of topographic maps. The Survey of India was set up in Dehradun, which made detailed maps of towns, villages, mountains and coast. The maps of this period helps us today to know about the rural and urban patterns of settlements and how they have changed over a period of time. In villages, revenue surveys were conducted. And at the end of the 19th century, census operations were held every 10 years to know a detailed records of the number of people living in India. Census is more important for us to know the number of people who are living in India, not only living, those who are migrated, and till now it is following. I want you to know what when the census again going to be held. Okay, children? The next one is about what official records do not tell. Other than the surveys, other than the maps, other than official records, which are the records do not tell? We call this as indigenous records. Diaries, accounts of pilgrims and travelers, newspapers, books, novels, and leaflets reflect the feelings of the Indians under British rule. People wrote in English and in the vernaculars. When there was a spread of printing, newspapers started to publish. A large number of newspapers, magazines, and pamphlets were also printed throughout India in different languages, and one such publication is still alive is Bal Gangadhar Tilak's Kesari in Marathi is one of the most notable example. Letters are especially important as they help in understanding the prevailing situation from a personal point of view. After the spread of printing, the popular books like The Discovery of India and Glimpses of World History, autobiographies of personalities like Mahatma Gandhi, and accounts of travelers and pilgrims give a deep insight into the lives. And apart from all this, the history was experienced and lived by the lives of the tribals and the peasants, the workers in the mines or the poor on the streets. We cannot able to know. It is more difficult task to know about their lives in the history. Okay. And this period is generally regarded as the modern period. As I already said, the modern period in India is associated with the establishment of British colonial rule and the fight we put up against it. So we are going to study this year about the socio-cultural changes that came about in India under the influence of the British. Okay, and also the rise of nationalism in India, which ultimately led to India becoming a free nation. And we will also study the developments that have taken place since then and how they have impacted our progress. So with this, we'll conclude the lesson. Okay, and the next session we'll see a new lesson. Okay, before that, we are going to write notes on this as well as followed by worksheet and test will be given. Okay, so test will be given for the two lesson, which is geography chapter 1 and this chapter, which is history chapter 1. Okay, children.